Welcome to the tutorial for the fiscal year 2016 SnapEd Timelog template. Through this tutorial, you will learn how to use the new features of the Timelog as well as refresh your memory on how to fill out the log in general. Let's get started. The newest Timelog will be emailed to you by your supervisor, so contact them if you haven't received one. Before filling anything out, it should be noted that you must use the same template each month instead of using a new one every month like you may have done in the past. The Timelog is an Excel spreadsheet which will require Excel 10 or higher for optimum use. However, it will still work with older versions. Upon opening the spreadsheet, you may get a message asking you if you want to enable macros. Always click yes. The template has tabs that correspond to the months of the federal fiscal year, October to September. This last tab, the Example tab, is a pre-filled template that you can refer to if you're unsure how to report your time. Each month will be pre-filled with date and day, with each period shaded in the same color. The dates highlighted in green represent the end of that pay period. Note that some pay periods extend through the end of one month to the beginning of another. Now that you know the basic layout of the Timelog, let's go over how to properly fill it out. Click on the current month. If this month is October, you'll notice that 4 dates from September are filled in for you. This is to ensure that we have correct pay period totals for the period ending on October 11th. The top left section will be pre-filled with your general information. This carries over from month to month, so you won't have to worry about filling this out. You will notice some new sections over here on the top right. These will be pre-filled when you receive your Timelog. However, these will need to be edited if a status change occurs. A status change refers to a change in FTE, a percentage with SnapEd. A change to being split between multiple counties or a change to being split between SnapEd and another grant or account would need to be documented in this box. Your current percentage will be listed in the current column on the left. You will not need to change anything in this column. Any change will need to be noted in the changed column. For example, if you change from being 100% in Apache to being 50% in Apache and 50% in admin, you would type 50% in the change column next to the previous Apache listing. Then you would type 50% in the next space in the changed column underneath and select admin from the drop-down list on the right. Next, you would type in the date that your status changed in the green box on top underneath status change date. Enter your FTE in the top column. Any blank red cells will need to be populated. If you are changing to be split between SnapEd and another grant or non-SnapEd account, for example, if you change from being 100% in Apache to being 50% in Apache and 50% in FNEP, you would type your changed percentage in the bottom row next to the other -not SnapEd box. Next, you would type in the date that your status changed in the green box on top underneath status change date and type in your FTE on the top. You will see that a couple of boxes will pop up on the right or disappear depending on your change. You will not need to do anything with these boxes as they only exist to report actual hours worked for those that are not 100% SnapEd. It should be noted that the totals at the bottom, highlighted in green, must add up to 100%. If they don't, the cell will be highlighted in red, indicating your percentages are likely wrong. Once the information in the top rows is correct, you can start entering time. Remember, this Timelog is only for SnapEd time. There is one exception to this, but we will get into that later. So if you work with another grant or account, only list your SnapEd time. If you are unsure whether your hours are admin or direct, refer to these columns on the right. You'll notice that your time will automatically sum in the daily total column. Since our grant does not allow for overtime, if you type in a number that is more than expected, more than 8 hours in one day, you will see the daily total number appear in red. This is to bring to your attention in case it is incorrect. Per university policy, if an hourly employee works more than their scheduled number of hours in a pay period, U-Access and the Timelog are set up to automatically move those additional hours into the comp time category. However, an employee can override these calculations in U-Access and in the Comp Hours Earned box in column AE. Please note that not all extension offices allow comp time. Please check with your supervisor if you have questions. Your time for the entire pay period will be automatically calculated in the period total column. Keep in mind that for some periods, this number will be totaled over the end of one month and the beginning of another, meaning it is very important to use the same template each month. Other columns to keep in mind are the two time off columns. These are here to make it a little easier to report any absences from work. If you type in time you took off, the type column will be highlighted in red, signaling that it needs to be filled out. The type column is a drop-down list that contains letters for different absences from work, such as vacation or sick time. If you click on the type column, a legend for what the letters mean will pop up. Choose the letter that represents the type of absence you took. If you only fill out the type column, you will notice that the time off column will also turn red, signaling you need to fill it out. If you have more than one type of time off in a day, you would report one in each column for that day. The only exception to this is for unpaid time off, where you do not enter a time in the time off column, but instead report it in the explanation and notes column. Any time off will be calculated by period in these columns on the right. Holiday time will be pre-populated based on your FTE. These can be overridden if you work in an extension office that recognizes different holidays. Once you have completed entering your timesheet should look something like this. Notice how this example makes use of the explanation and notes column. This column is required when your type of admin or direct time is listed as provide explanation, when you take unpaid time off, or take leave and select other from the type column. As mentioned before, you do not enter a time in the time off column when taking unpaid time off. Instead, you need to write the hours you took off with unpaid written next to it. If you took partial unpaid time, enter the time you did work in the admin or direct column or in the second time off column, and then write the number of hours you took unpaid in the explanation and notes column, such as 4 hours admin and 4 hours unpaid. If you take leave and the type of leave you take is not listed in the drop-down menu in the type column, then you must enter a note in the notes column describing the type of leave you took. While it is not necessary to fill out this column for admin or direct time, it is greatly appreciated. For those employees who are split funded, keep in mind that any paid time off will be charged to SNAP-Ed according to your split funded percentage. Even if you take a paid time off day on a day that you usually don't work for SNAP-Ed, SNAP-Ed is charged for your time regardless. For example, if you work for FNEP Mondays through Thursdays, and then for SNAP-Ed on Fridays, if you take a paid time off day on Monday, SNAP-Ed is still charged according to your SNAP-Ed funded portion. This will calculate automatically for you in the columns on the right, according to your split percentage entered in the top columns. Now that you have your time filled out, save this document in a place that you will remember it. You will need to fill out the current month in the same Excel file each month in order to keep the pay period totals up to date. If your unit already has a specified place for you to save your time log, please follow your unit's instructions and save your time log there. You cannot use a blank template each month as you may have done in the past, because the worksheet contains cumulative information that will be used by accounting and possibly your supervisor. Once completed and saved, please upload this form per your region's protocol. This concludes the tutorial for the FY16 time log. If you have any questions, please contact your manager or the accounting team.